Tech War will continue right after this.
I don't need drugs. I believe in me and my ability. I don't want anything interfering with the way I play the game. Cocaine's no way to believe in yourself. Hey, it can kill you. If you're into cocaine, get off it. You're living a lie. Get off it while you still have a life.
Cocaine, the big lie. Call 1-800-662-HELP. Furnished by Major League Baseball in cooperation with the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
And now back to Tech War.
So beautifully stood up the other night after our church was packed Sunday morning, and we just carried on like, you know, John was here, and Sam Carr preached a most eloquent message, and it was tremendous. It was a masterpiece. But I want you to know we're going on. We got preachers in the family. We got a new preacher that we didn't know we had a preacher. Joel preached his first sermon. He preached his first sermon the Sunday before his father went home to be with the Lord. No, the Sunday before, wasn't it? Is that what it was? Sunday before. It was tremendous. John said, I'm going to ask Joel to preach. And I said, whew, that's so funny. Joel will never preach. And so when he called Joel, Joel said, Dad, that put me under pressure. I better not do it. And I said, see there, I told you. And then, you know what? He called back and he said, Daddy, you said I was first choice. He said, I think I want to preach Sunday. Did anybody hear him? Was he tremendous? I was so shocked. I thought he would preach 10 minutes and just walk down there. He preached 35 minutes, and how many got saved? 58 people or something like that got saved. So we got a new preacher in the family. And guess who asked me if they could preach again Sunday? Would you think it'd be Joel Osteen? He's going to preach Sunday morning. Big, tall, handsome, you may be seated, son-in-law from Victoria, Texas. They have a wonderful church there. He's going to preach tonight. Hallelujah. Jim Graff. Thank you, my Father. Well, I just wanted to tell you that the work will go on. And Jesus is going to help us. I am not John Osteen, but I still have the same Holy Ghost he has. And we're going to pray and ask God for wisdom, and we're going to go on reaching the city and the world. And we're going to do it with God's help. And if we're committed to you, are you committed to us? Yes. Good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so proud. How many of you are from Lakewood? I know you wanted to come for your pastor. Would you stand up? Thank you. Thank you for coming. You know, he's bound to hear that in heaven. That was pretty loud. I wanted to give my children opportunity. Lisa's such a tremendous preacher. April's a tremendous preacher. Cameron's a tremendous preacher. Jim, Gary. I guess that's about all. We hadn't gotten Kevin up here yet, but we may someday. Kevin. Anyway, we've got able ministers in the family. And who knows, one of these nights or days, I just may get me a sermon. To ask any of the children if they wanted to say anything. Give the girls a chance. I know. Oh, I guess I didn't give them a chance. I didn't give them a chance. They just took it.
I was instructed to go first. I do what I'm told. I hate following my mom, man. One minute I'm up there laughing, the next minute I'm crying. What's to say after she's been up here? But I wanted to say, you know, my dad was a special person. Have so many treasured memories of him. I've had the opportunity to work with him the last 17 years here, and I know him inside and out. And what a man he was. He was my special friend, you know. We were 42 years difference in age, but still, he was the one I liked to hang around with. And so it was really special, and I was thinking about all the different things about Daddy. He was such a giver. You know, Daddy loved to give. He's always looking for ways to give. Compassionate man, and I'll never forget, we traveled overseas, and Daddy was a people person. He liked to talk to people and go see them and encourage them, no matter who you are. You know, some people might have called him nosy, but he just liked to go out and see people and talk to them. And we were going overseas one time. We were refueling at this one little airport, and I noticed this guy about my age had a sleeping mat over there and a backpack, and he had been there for a while. And you know, it wasn't long before my dad was over there, and I saw him giving him some money. You know, and that was the heart of my dad. He'd reached out to me. I asked him later. I said, "Daddy, what was the story with that young man?" He said, "Well, you know, he was one stop away from home, and he'd run out of money." And he said, "So many people had helped me growing up." And he said, "I sure hope somebody would help my children." He said, and that's why I wanted to reach out to him. But those kind of things happen all the time with Daddy. He loved to reach out to people. And what impressed me about my dad is he lived what he preached. He was real. You know, he was like that at home. He was simple, down to earth, funny, liked to have a good time. We liked to joke and have fun. You know, it wasn't always a super spiritual upbringing. We just liked to have fun, and he was real, and I think that's what drew us so close to him. But I was thinking, my mom already said everything I was going to say about when he asked me to preach, but I was thinking about when he called me and asked me to preach. He said, "Joel, are you sitting down, and are you sure you really want to do it?" And I said, "Yeah, I'd do it." But I wanted to say this first. He always encouraged us to chase our own dreams. I knew from a little boy he wanted me to preach, but I always told him, "Daddy, you're the preacher. Who can preach any better than you? You preach, I'll do the television, I'll make you look good." You know, and he always was so proud of that. When he introduced me when we were out at functions, he said, "This is my son Joel. He does my television program." And he'd smile real big and say, "He makes me look good." He was so proud of that, but I never felt like he was up here and we were fine, but when he called me, I felt like I should do it, and never in my wildest dreams did I believe that I would speak for him the last Sunday that he was alive. And so I felt so honored, and I remember after I hooked him up so he could listen to me on the telephone, and you know, my dad, he was going to be proud of me, I'm convinced, if I'd spoken Spanish. He just wanted me to get up here. But I went up to the St. Luke's after we were done, and I came down the hall, and the nurses all met me, and they said, "Man, Joel, we've never seen such a glow on your dad." He said, you know, he was... He was just so proud, you know. Of course, I made him proud, and he was beaming. But you know, I'd do anything in the world for him, and all our family would. And my mom, I didn't know she was going to bring this, but there's a little story behind that. You know, I was up in the television control room, and I'd never see him until he showed up for church on Sundays, and it got to be where we'd look out there through the monitors and say, "Our monitors are adjusted right? What's he got on?" I didn't ever tell him, and I said, "Daddy, you know, I'll be there Sunday. I'll pick out what you need to wear." I don't think those cameras can handle some of those colors. But Daddy was a real giving person, and the little things he'd do, I'm not going to take too long, but he loved my wife, Victoria. He lived for the simple things. He used to drive up to church and he said, "Joe, I can't believe there's 8,000 people there. Can you believe it?" He lived for the simple things, very simple man. But one time Victoria's birthday came about, and my mom bought her a beautiful vase, and it was from my mom and dad. But, you know, that was enough for Daddy. He liked to do special things. And we were over at his house one night, and he said, "Victoria, come back here and look at my new shoes." And she went back there, and she said, "Boy, those are beautiful." She called him Big O. She said, "Those are beautiful, Big O." And he said, "Well, look at them really close." And so she picked him up and looked at them, and he said, "Well, feel inside of them." He wasn't satisfied yet. "And feel inside of them. See how soft they are." And he reached down there, and of course my dad had written a special note and put a $100 bill in there. But that's the way my dad was. You know, in the last few months when he wasn't feeling well, he still kept his joy. And we still I just still remember him with a spring in his step and a smile on his face. And, you know, I'd go pick up prescriptions for him at Walgreens, and my dad was always a giver. And I'd take him there, and it'd be $20, and he'd give me $40. And I said, "Daddy's only $20. No, I want you to have that." And I'd go up to Dallas a lot of times with Johnny, and we'd get him a hamburger from Fuddruckers, and we'd go up there and eat it. And it'd be a $5 burger, and he'd give me $10 or $15. And I told him just last week, I said, "Daddy, you know, I'm making money off of you." But that was Daddy's heart. He loved to give, and like my mom said, that we're going to continue on, and his dream was for the family to continue on his work, and we're going to carry out his legacy of compassion and sharing God's love and mercy with this city and with the world, and we're just committed to that, and we just honor my dad, and we're honored that you have all come to